Ha ha ha, welcome my little ghouls. Step right up because the night is young but the grave is always open. Tonight we peer into the black heart of human terror. We shall drag you through the mud of fear and lock you tight in the damp, decaying crypt, all served up from the deepest, darkest vault. So sit back, hold your breath, and try not to scream too loudly, because you're watching Essa Tonight, Tales from the Vault of Fear.
Join the Halloween Read Aloud! Grab the story on Discord!
Hee hee! Happy Halloween, boils and ghouls. Felix is your Crypt keeper here again. Welcome back once again. Welcome once again to the Crypt of Terror. This is your host and house, the Crypt keeper, ready to narrate another nauseating tale from my collection. So come in, sit down on that second silver dollars there, and I'll begin. This story happens to a young chap named Peter. It's in his very own words. I'll tell you it the way he told it to me. He calls the spine-tingling, hair-standing blood freezer by the fright of the silvery moon. My name is Peter Gedra. I'm a 15-year-old. My father, Alex Gedra, has brought me and my brother Edward to this country from Hungary soon after the end of the last war. With a meager amount of money that my father had managed to save, he'd bought a small farm in the Midwest. Everything seemed to be going along fine for us when... Papa, come quick! What is it, Edward? He's as white as it goes, Papa. It happened about a year after we arrived in America. Edward, my younger brother, had been out in the fields. Suddenly he come dashing across the farmyard, screaming for my father. There's a dead man, Papa, in the cornfield. Come quickly. A dead man? Where? Show me. I'm coming too. I followed my father and Edward to the cornfield. The man was there all right, all that was left of him. He'd been horribly mutilated, as though... Good Lord, he's attacked by a wild beast. But, Papa, there's no wild beasts around here. Edward is right, Papa. Then this is the work of a werewolf. A werewolf? Papa. My father looked at Edward and me. The darkness clouded his face. I thought that we'd left such horrors as werewolves behind us in Hungary. I see that I am wrong. Are you sure, Papa? Are you sure it was a werewolf? He turned and started back to the house. I'm sure, Edward. Come, we must go to the town, tell them what we found. Yes, Papa. Papa, you're not going to tell them, No, Peter, I'm going to tell them that I think it's the work of a werewolf. They would not believe it anyway. Werewolves? In America? I can hardly believe it myself. So my father drove us into town, my brother Edward and myself, and soon our little farm was alive with the curious who came out from all around to see the gory sight. Torn to shreds. Horrible. The sheriff questioned my father for some time. And you heard no screams, Mr. Gedra? No cries last night? I heard nothing. I can't figure what could have done it. Looks like a wild animal attacked him, yet we ain't got nothing like that around here. Any ideas, Mr. Gedra? I have none. Meanwhile, my younger brother was mingling with the local farm boys. Maybe it was an escaped lion from the circus. Oh, we would have heard about it on the radio. My papa says it was a werewolf. A werewolf? What's that? A werewolf is a human being who changes when the full moon comes up in a vicious, flesh-craving wolf. Oh, comic book stuff. Who believes in that junk? In my old country, in Hungary, the people there believe in werewolves. Edward! Tell them, Peter. Tell them that there really are such things as werewolves. My brother has a vivid imagination. You should excuse him. Come inside, Edward. Oh, we didn't believe him anyway. I pushed Edward into the house. Why don't you learn to keep your big mouth shut? What harm is there in talking about werewolves? Werewolves? Eh? Who said something about werewolves? It was Sheriff Hudson. He'd overheard us. He stood there glaring down at us, his bushy eyebrows arched. Well, what about werewolves? And nothing, sir. We didn't say. Papa says it's a work of werewolf that's killing. Edward! Oh, he did he? A werewolf, eh? In Hungary, where we come from, there are many werewolves. During the day, they're just like ordinary human beings, but on the night the moon is full, they change. They change into a wolf, eh? And they ate human flesh. Why, Sheriff, you know all about them, don't you? Yes, I do. Okay, boys, let's go. Wrap that critter in a sack and let's clear out of here. Okay, Sheriff. With the sheriff and his deputies and the townspeople left our farm, I told my father about Edward and his big mouth. And he told everybody, even the sheriff. Well, I wouldn't worry too much, Peter. They won't believe it anyway. But Father was wrong. Sheriff Hudson went back to town in his office and, hand me that almanac there, Herb. Something I want to look up. Sure thing, Sheriff. Here you are. Sheriff Hudson flipped through the pages of the almanac, found what he wanted, and studied it for some time. Know something, Herb? Last night was the night of the full moon. Full moon? So what? Sheriff Hudson made a trip to the town library after that. He wanted to read up on werewolves. Oh dear, let me see. Werewolves. Ah yes, the book that covers the subject. Let's see it, Miss Purdley. About a month later, I was awakened from a fitful sleep by the sound of a distant howling. I got up and ran to my father's bedroom. He was fast asleep. Papa! Papa! Huh? Peter? That you? We sat for a while listening to the howls. My father reassured me, patting me on the back. I'll be just an old dog hunting at the moon, howling at the moon, my son. Go back to sleep. Yes, Papa. But later that night, I was awakened by, Peter! Someone's hammering on the door. Wake up! What? Oh, Edward. Who is it? We heard angry voices. We tiptoed to the kitchen. Father was arguing with some men. Sheriff Hudson was with them. No, you were wrong. I am no werewolf. I swear it. You come from Hungary, don't you? Wolfsbane grows in Hungary. We cowered in the doorway, frightened, listened. Yes, but we found another victim, Gedra. He was killed tonight, torn to pieces and partially eaten. There's a full moon out tonight. Werewolves attack when the moon is full. And werewolves come from Hungary. We didn't have no killings like this before you come here. So you must be the werewolf. They grabbed my father and dragged him from the house. Papa! Papa! We know how to get rid of a werewolf, Gedra. Hank here carved a silver bullet. And there in the moonlight in the farmyard they shot my father with that silver bullet. Papa! This is Papa! He's dead, Edward. They killed him. Edward looked at me with tear-filled eyes. Papa wasn't the werewolf, was he, Peter? No, he couldn't have been. I saw him tonight, sleeping in his room. Edward's face grew grim. He choked back his tears. I'll get him. I'll get the werewolf. I know who it is. I can tell. Who, Edward? Who is it? It's that sheriff. You ever notice the way his eyebrows grow together? That's a sign of a werewolf. Next month, when the moon is full, I'll wait for him. And what can you do, Edward? You have no gun, no silver bullet. No, but I have these, a slingshot and a silver dollar. A slingshot and a silver dollar? How can you kill a werewolf with a silver dollar? It took Edward many days to file down the edge of a silver dollar till it was razor sharp. You see, Peter, once I have sharpened the edge, I'll have a lethal silver missile. And you fire it with a slingshot. Exactly. I mean to avenge our father's death. He was innocent, and I will prove it. We'll do it together, Edward. In 3 weeks, when the moon is full, we'll clear our father's name together. And so I, too, set about sharpening the edge of a silver dollar and fashioning a powerful slingshot. And when the night of the full moon came, my younger brother Edward and I were ready. Come, Peter, it is time. We must go. Yes, Edward. We crossed the fields towards town, listening, hoping. Hush! What was that? I heard nothing, Edward. And we saw it, a shadowy figure stealing down a lonely country road. Look, is that him? Up ahead? Let's separate, Peter. You go that way, I'll go this way. Before I could object, Edward had darted off into the woods. I stood there for a moment, hesitating. Then I swung off into the trees on the other side of the road. We were going to circle around, cut him off. Suddenly, ah! Edward! I ran as fast as I could towards the screaming, slipping the razor-sharp silver dollar into the slingshot. Edward, I'm coming! As I burst out into the clearing, I saw it. A horrible, hairy, red-eyed creature, its mouth dripping blood, bending over its victim. Edward! Oh my lord, what have you done to him? I took careful aim and let my slingshot snap. Flick! The silver dollar entered the werewolf's throbbing throat, and it pitched forward. And even as I watched, those disgusting fangs shrank, the hair disappeared, the eyes darkened, and the agonizing face of my younger brother took shape. Edward! Oh, Edward. Yep, kiddies, young Edward was the werewolf all along, only he didn't even know it. And that's the story the way Peter Gedra told it to me. Yep, that night he and Edward did clear their father's name. Messed up Edward's, though. Oh, by the way, Peter's given me a nice recipe. Think I'll turn it over to the old witch. It's for Hungarian goulash. See you later. VKOH. Looks like a supernatural is the order of the day, fiends. CK told you a werewolf story, so I'll tell you one about vampires. Welcome to the Vault of Horror. This is your vault keeper shrieking. I call this blood-curdling tale from my bloody collection. Midnight Menace. The clock in the steeple of the village hall chimed 5 as Harold Madsen moved across the square from the railroad station in the distance. The train whistled off into the gathering twilight. Harold gazed up at the clock, the tower still echoing the last chime, looking around at the quaint buildings lining the square, and chuckled. Heh, this is just the kind of burg my sister would be happy of. What a dead-looking place. The village square was strangely deserted. Harold set down his valise and scratched his head. Nobody around. No cabs, no nothing. Well, how in blazes will I find my sister's house? All I know is the address. A nervous-looking old man came out of one of the small stores, locked the door, and hurried across the square towards Harold. He kept looking around as if he were being followed. Harold called to him. Hey you! Where's Shore Street? 1223 Shore Street. Eh? Shore Street? West, 2 blocks, then east, 3, but you better hurry, it's getting dark. The nervous old man trotted on past Harold, not even stopping for an instant. So it's getting dark. So what? You're a stranger here, aren't you? You don't know about them. No, I don't. What about what? The vampires. The who? The vampires? Oh, come on. Better hurry. It'll be sundown soon. Vampires come out after sundown. Then the old man was gone, up a narrow alley. Harold laughed and continued on across the square. A sign caught his eye. Ah, a restaurant. I could do with a bite to eat. I'm starved. The restaurant was small, but the mirrored wall at the far end made it appear much larger than it actually was. Except for 1 or 2 people who were finishing their meals, the place was empty. A waiter came forward. I'm sorry, sir, but we're closing. It's almost dark, you know. What the? You too? What if it is getting dark? It's dinner time and I'm hungry. The waiter shook his head. We close in order that our help may get home before sundown, sir. Vampires, you know. Vampires? What vampires? For a moment the waiter stared at Harold, then his eyes fell to his suitcase. Oh, you're a stranger here. Then you do not know what is happening. No, I don't. What is this all about? There have been 17 cases so far. Bodies found with every drop of blood drained out of them. The whole town is in the grip of fear. It's the work of vampires. Bah, no such thing. Nevertheless, I suggest that you get to where you're going before it becomes dark and the vampires begin to run the streets looking for a victim. Okay, I'm going. Where's 1223 Shore Street? Can you tell me that? Of course. West, 2 blocks, then east, 3. Good night. Good night. Is everybody in this burg nuts? Vampires. Harold stalked through the town towards his sister's house. As he went, he could hear doors being locked and bolted, blinds being drawn. Finally, yes, who's out there? Donna, it's me, Harold, your brother. Harold's sister threw open the door. Harold, you weren't out there in the dark? Oh no, Donna, don't tell me you believe in the vampire business too. Donna locked and bolted the door behind Harold and turned to face him, her eyes wide in terror. Of course I believe in vampires. 17 villagers murdered already. Blood drained. What else could have done it? Donna, there's no such thing as vampires. They're myths. Perhaps there's a homicidal maniac loose in this town? Certainly there must be a logical explanation, but not vampires. It's ridiculous. Alright, Harold, believe what you want to believe. Now let's forget about it. Come inside. Tell me, why the surprise visit? Well, I was on my way to the coast and I thought I'd drop in on you. It's good to see you, Harold. You're looking well. That night, Harold Madsen could not sleep. He tossed and turned on the cot Donna had set up for him. Finally, he got up and dressed. Guess I'll go for a walk. Out in the deserted streets, Harold moved down silent, dark sidewalks towards the village square. Vampires. Every door, every window that Harold passed was locked up tight and dark. The village square was empty and silent. Not a soul out. They sure roll this town at tired and drum after dark. And then he heard it. The laughter and the gay chatter had come from a familiar building. Well, I'll be. The restaurant I was in this afternoon. It's open. There's people going in. The restaurant was all lit up. People sat at tables, talking, eating. Harold went in. That's why I couldn't sleep. I was hungry. Guess I'll have something to eat. Harold sat down at a table. He looked around at the people seated near him. A waiter approached, a different one from the one he'd spoken to earlier. Certainly some queer-looking characters out this time of night. Well, you have dinner, sir, or would you... The waiter looked at Harold with dark, piercing eyes. Harold smiled uncomfortably. Oh, the dinner will be fine, or what's the menu tonight? Juice, soup, roast with French fries, coffee, sherbet. Harold licked his lips. Good, say I am hungry. I'll be right back. The waiter went away and came back with a glass of juice. Ah, tomato juice. Very funny. Harold sipped the chilled juice in the glass and it tasted saltier than usual and thinner. Ugh, well, can't expect much in a small-town restaurant. The waiter's looking at me. I'd better finish it. The soup was hot, but it was too saltier than Harold would have liked. Strangest taste of bouillon I've ever had. Richer than usual, too. Do you like your roast clots well done or medium? Roast what? Clots. Roast blood clots. Say, who are you? Blood? Oh my. Draw the curtain. Draw the curtain. There's an intruder in our midst. And then Harold noticed that the mirror on the back wall of the restaurant was curtained. And now the curtain was being opened. Good Lord! The restaurant was crowded with people, and yet in the reflection in the mirror, Harold sat alone in the place. Only I cast a reflection, the rest. Suddenly they were around him, the other customers, fangs bared, coming at him. The rest are vampires. Donna elbowed her way through the crowd. Harold, I told you not to go out. I told you. Now it's too late. Donna, what are you doing here? I'm one of them, Harold. I'm a vampire too. Why did you think I came to this town? I had to. It was the only place I could go. To this restaurant. I don't understand. In the old days, humans hunted their own food, prepared it themselves. Vampires, too, in the legends, hunted their own victims. But now, we, just like modern man, leave the hunting to the professionals. We leave the preparing to the professionals, too. You mean, this restaurant serves blood dishes, like a vegetarian restaurant serves vegetable dishes. Blood juice cocktail, hot blood consommé roast, blood clots, French fried scabs, blood sherbet. I'm sorry, Harold. Like the other 17 that wandered into this restaurant, you will have to be silenced. I cannot save you. The tap! Bring the tap! Harold was lifted bodily by the giggling crowd of vampires while his sister looked on unconcernedly. One vampire brought a rope, another the tap. Tie up his feet! String him up! A party! And so Harold was strung up, head down, the tap was inserted in his jugular vein, and each of the vampires came, one by one, and filled its glass. Nothing like the real stuff, I'll say. And that's the story, kiddies. That's what civilized vampires do these days. They dine in blooditarian restaurants, open sundown to sunrise. Where is there one in your town, you ask? Well, some night if you feel up to it, look for it. You can tell by the sign inside. It is red and it says positively no nipping the waiters. The guy who started this chain of drinkeries is the vampire barber. He knows there's a sucker born every minute. Now I turn you back to the Crypt. Bye. This little tale I call the rat. The gaping mouth of the castle stuck out its drawbridge like an impudent tongue. Count Mordo could hear the clatter of metal and the pounding of hooves as his brother's men-at-arms moved rapidly across the bridge into the lifeless castle. Count Mordo could picture Oresto's rage and astonishment when he found all the occupants of the castle slain. The man with whom Oresto had ridden forth to do battle had invested the castle, while Oresto and his men were scouring the other end of the province for him. The county's arch-enemy, Umberto the Lion, had made a lifelong career of opposing him. When Umberto was a youth of 15, he had been caught stealing some of the Count's sheep. Mordo had thousands of sheep, yet his poor oppressed subjects were starving without wool for clothing. When young Umberto was brought before the tyrant, he was branded with the stigma of S and T, for sheep thief, on his forehead. But he soon became such a champion as downtrodden, a legend grew out of the next 15 years that the letters stood for saint. Men of great courage but of little means came from all parts of Italy to join Umberto's band. At first, Umberto had struck at Mordo's superior forces in sudden raids. The element of surprise was his mightiest weapon. But as Umberto's ranks began to swell, it was apparent that full-scale war was imminent. Then Mordo's brother had the good fortune to capture Tullio, Umberto's trusted friend and first lieutenant. The Count's torture experts put Tullio on the rack in the castle's imaginative and well-equipped dungeon and broke every bone in his body. But Tullio died without disclosing Umberto's lair. When Umberto heard of Tullio's courage, under painful torments, and of his subsequent death, he marched upon Count Mordo's fortress immediately, spurred by the thought of revenge. By the same token, Count Mordo had become infuriated at his valiant victim's stubborn refusal to talk on the rack. He ordered his brother to take half of his bravi and marched out after Umberto. The reluctant and overcautious Oresto started his march towards the west, where he had last encountered a part of the lion's forces. At the same time, Umberto was advancing upon the castle from the east. Under the cover of night, some of Umberto's men swam moat of the castle, surprised the lax guards of the portcullis, and then let down the massive wooden drawbridge to the rest of the attackers. After wiping out the entire garrison, Umberto ordered the heartless despot to be taken to the place where the end of the drawbridge touched the bank of the moat. Count Mordo's arms were then shackled and bolted to the dark underside of the bridge. His feet were securely staked to the side of the bank. Leaving them slung in this limp position, Umberto and his men rode off. And now Oresto had returned without having engaged his enemy. Soon Oresto had discovered the evidence of Umberto's passing presence. He had looked in vain for his brother, dead or alive, and surmised that the lion had carried him off for ransom or revenge. Fearing another attack by Umberto, Oresto ordered the drawbridge raised. Count Mordo could hear the cranking and groaning of the hand-manipulated winches as they took in the slack of the great chain supporting the bridge. Count Mordo could see the ever-widening daylight between the bridge and the bank now. He could feel his sagging body being elongated on the giant rack. Then he felt the pull, and then the drag, on his bleeding wrists and ankles. Soon, half of them would be dangling from the underside of the rising drawbridge. And the other half? Here's a yarn that figures to end up pretty horrible. Busted marriage. Geoffrey Horn was a desperate man. He wanted money. He wanted the comforts money could bring him, and Louise Riddling was rich. Very rich. So he swallowed his pride and proposed. You're very nice, Geoffrey, but I don't love you. Besides, I'm 10 years older than you. Louise, age doesn't matter. I love you, that's what's important. I wish you could find it in your heart to love me. But Geoffrey Horn was not one to give up easily. He'd heard about the little shop downtown, the strange native proprietor. I followed her wherever she went. I picked up these hair clippings and nail clippings in her beauty parlor. You said you need them. Good. Now you say you want to marry her? Yes, I want her to consent to be my wife. I want us to be married. Leave me clippings from your hair and nails and come back tomorrow. I will be ready. The next day, why, these are nothing more than sugar dolls, the kind one sees on wedding cakes. Not quite, Mr. Holmes. These are voodoo dolls. The bride represents Miss Riddler, and the groom represents you. Take them home, put them someplace safe from harm. Whatever happens to these dolls happens to the person they represent. I see. And since they are getting married, Louise and I will be married. Exactly. And may I suggest that you have these dolls placed on your own wedding cake? Such articles are highly treasured. It will ensure their safety. You mean that if anything should happen to these dolls, an arm break off or a leg, that the same thing would happen to the person? It is the voodoo spell. You must take the bad with the good. That is why I'm suggesting you use them on your cake. After the wedding, put them under the glass and guard them well. Oh, be careful not to cut off the supply of air, or you and your future wife may suffocate. I'll be careful, thank you. Thank you for your help. Wasn't long before Louise Birdling's attitude towards Jeffrey began to change until, oh, darling, at first I thought you were merely in love with my money, but now I know you love me for myself. Yes, yes, I'll marry you. Louise, at last. And so they were married, and the figures stood upon the lavish wedding cake and smiled. Jeffrey, I'm so happy, like those figures on our cake. Let's save those figures, honey, for always. They will be a symbol of our happiness. So, with slush like that, Jeffrey managed to have the voodoo figures placed in a looked-at china closet under a glass bell in Louise's palatial home. There, and every time we have a spat or misunderstanding, these figures will remind us of how happy we were at this moment. Open the window, Jeff. It's so hot in here. Jeffrey laughed and shot a troubled glance at the figurines inside the china closet. Heh, it's only warm for new brides, honey. Go upstairs. I'll be up in a minute. All right, Jeff, but don't be long, will you? It's awful stuffy in here. He watched as Louise labored up the marble staircase. As soon as she'd gone into her room, Jeffrey unlocked the china closet, gasping for breath. That was stupid of me. I forgot about cutting off the air supply. Tomorrow I'll have to get a bell with holes in it. Meanwhile, Jeff slipped a matchstick under the edge of the bell. Meantime, I'll prop it up so air can get in. Then he locked the china closet and pocketed the key. He went upstairs. Louise sat on the bed smiling at it. That's better. What was it? Oh, some darn fool had turned up the thermostat. And so with the aid of voodoo, Jeff Warren had gotten what he wanted. He married Louise Birdling and her millions. The next day he purchased a new glass bell, had tiny holes drilled in it, and substituted it in the china closet. All went well for a year. Then, Louise, I wish you wouldn't drag me to these parties. You know how I... Hush, someone's coming. Louise, why you came? And this must be your new husband. Well, introduce me. Jeff, this is Eve Porter. Eve's been in Europe for 2 years. Glad to meet you, Eve. Eve Porter was young and lovely. She was attracted to Jeff. That evening as they danced, too bad I didn't meet you before Louise did, Jeff. You're quite a guy. Perhaps we can have dinner together sometime, Eve. And so Eve and Jeff began seeing each other, secretly. Their attraction for each other grew stronger each time they met. It wasn't long before they realized that they were falling in love. Divorce Louise, darling. Marry me. We'll get along somehow. I have a small income. I love you, Eve, but there's another way, a better way. It was Louise's wealth that Jeff was thinking of. He hated to give that up, and there was a way, one way, to have both Louise's money and Eve. So, what are you doing, Jeff? I'm putting these wedding cake figures under separate glass bells, Louise. I thought they'd look better that way. What Jeff was doing was taking the old glass bell, the one without any holes, and placing it over Louise's figure. He put his own under the one with the ventilation. Later that night, Jeff, I can't breathe. What is it, Louise? What's wrong? Shall I call a doctor? It was so simple. Louise's breathing became more and more labored. The doctor came. He couldn't understand it. It's as if she were suffocating. It must be her heart. Do something, doctor. Do something. But Jeff knew that nothing could be done for Louise. In the china closet, the last trace of air inside the bell housing Louise's voodoo figurine vanished, and... She's dead, Jeff. I'm sorry. You did all you could, Doc. It wasn't your fault. And now Jeff was free. Free to marry Eve, and Louise's money was all his. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. After the funeral, Jeff wanted to destroy Louise's image, but he reconsidered. I still have to preserve my figurine. I've got to make sure mine is kept from harm. There's only one way. And so, what is it, Jeff? What's the surprise? Look! Eve had never seen the figurines in Louise's china closet, so it was easy to fool her. I bought them for our wedding cake. Oh, Jeff, how sweet. Louise's figure stood in an airtight glass bell. After the wedding, we'll keep them always as a symbol of our love under these glass bells. Oh, Jeff, darling, what a nice thought. Of course. Everything was perfect. When the proper time had elapsed and the wedding day was set, Jeff removed the 2 figures from the china closet and, for the top of the wedding cake, Pierre, just one thing. Be very careful with them, understand? Oh, oui, Monsieur Horn. I would be very careful. But when the air hit the figure of Louise, something strange began to take place. After all, Louise had been dead for some long time. Phew, something smells in this bakery here. It is the figure on the cake. Do what can I do? Monsieur Horn insisted. And at the wedding reception, Oh, Jeff, look, the bride's figure on the cake. It's all moldy and rotting. After the wedding, throw them away, Jeff. The bride is putrid. It smells like a grave. Let me save the groom's figure, Eve. I'll have Pierre make us another bride. Jeff placed the ventilated glass belt over the groom's figurine. All right, now come to bed, huh? As soon as I throw this away. Jeff dropped the foul-smelling figure of Louise into the garbage can and went to bed. Oh, Jeff, at last married. Eve, baby. Downstairs in the garbage can, the rotting figure of Louise stirred, moved. They climbed from the litter-filled can, stumbled across the kitchen and into the dining room where Jeff's figure stood under the glass, climbed the table, and pushed. Upstairs in the bedroom, the light had gone out. Suddenly, Eve screamed. Her hysterical shrieks echoed throughout the house, down in the dining room where Jeff's voodoo figure lay smashed into 100 jagged pieces. Heh, so Eve's new bridegroom just fell apart, and on their wedding night too. Toot. Well, it just goes to show you, a modern marriage can't last if it doesn't begin solidly. At least Eve found out that Jeff was just a crumb in time. Now the old witch is stirring up her pew pot, ready to dish out another horror helping, so hold your nose. Eyes right. Heh, so it's supernatural you want, eh? Well, you had a werewolf story, a vampire story, and a voodoo story. Now let's see, I got the recipe. Come on in, I'll cook up a mummy story in my cruddy cauldron. Yep, it's your Shivers, Chef, the old witch, ready to dish out her tasty tale of terror for this issue of CK's Mag. So draw up to the bubbling pot, tuck your shrouds under your chins, and fasten your jewel cups, and feast on the foul fare I call, since it's the last yarn in this issue, this wraps it up. The flaming Egyptian sun blazed down upon the three archaeologists, sucking the perspiration from their pores and sending it in tiny streams down their faces. They worked feverishly, first one, then another, digging into the burning sand at the base of the towering cliff. It's got to be here, it's got to. Every shred of evidence we piece together says it's the spot. Do not be disappointed if it's not, Arnold. We have been wrong before. Why not you rest now? Remember, your heart. Dr. Arnold Munson sat down and wiped his soaking wet face with his handkerchief. He studied his two associates, Professor Thomas Steele and Dr. Jerome Grable, as they continued digging. Here we are, on the verge of the most valuable archaeological find of the century, and I have to watch my heart. You were advised not to even go along on this expedition, Arnold, no less dig like that. Bah, I'm as healthy as a 20-year-old, just because I had a slight heart attack. Another heart attack could be fatal, Arnold. Get that through your stubborn, thick skull. Tom, Arnold, look! Dr. Jerome Grable pointed at the spot where they'd been digging. What is it, Jerome? You found something. The entrance to the tomb. At the bottom of the excavation was a round iron ring embedded in a huge partially uncovered slab of stone. Give me a shovel. Let me. Arnold, take it easy, please. I'll finish uncovering the slab. Soon the stone block had been fully cleared of sand, and Arnold anxiously watched Thomas and Jerome tugged at it. It's coming loose. I'll give you a hand. We can manage, Arnold. A little more. Finally, the large stone slab was swung away, revealing a dark opening with dusty steps descending into the blackness. The musty odor of decay and rot, of things long buried in air 3,000 years old, searing your nostrils. We found it! The tomb of Ika-Ma-Kalma, 5th pharaoh of Egypt. Footsteps echoed into the cavernous blackness, shattering the silence of centuries. Flickering light from the lantern, Thomas carried caressing walls that had not felt light for over 100 generations. The three men descended into the shaft. I've counted 55 steps already. We're near the bottom. Steps ended before a small door. Its surface was exquisitely decorated with typical examples of ancient Egyptian artistry. Over the door was a tablet inscribed with hieroglyphics. What does it say, Tomix? You're the hieroglyphics expert. It says, beyond this door lies exalted Ika-Ma-Kalma, 5th pharaoh of all Egypt. Let this be a warning to all who trespass. Death will come to those who enter his tomb. Ika-Ma-Kalma will rise to avenge the disturbance of its sanctity. Jerome's laughter was thin and tinged with nervousness. It rippled through the silence and echoed up the stairs of the shaft. Typical of the warnings placed at the entrances of other pharaohs' tombs. They were supposed to scare off wandering bands of thieves who might have broken in the tombs and stolen the treasures buried with the pharaohs. Arnold tried to push the door open. It's sealed. We'll have to smash it. Lend a hand here, Jerome. Step away, Arnold. Flinging their full weight against the sealed tomb entrance door, Dr. Vrabel and Professor Steele finally managed to break it down. Look, on the floor! Skeletons! The whitened skulls grinned up at them as if they enjoyed a secret they would not share. Perhaps these are remains of thieves who once broke in. Possible the door was sealed. Then who are they? Workmen, perhaps? Servants who in turn Ika Malkama and they were murdered so the secret of the tomb's location would be kept? Thomas darted forward. Jules! Jules! Arnold! Jerome! Come see! Good Lord! A fortune in precious stones! Professor Thomas Steele scooped up handfuls of sparkling gems hungrily. Rubies, emeralds, sapphires, millions of dollars worth. And the urns that hold them are solid gold. This is the greatest archaeological discovery of the 20th century. I said it would be. Take it easy, Arnold. Don't excite yourself. Remember, your heart. Here, in here, it's the burial chamber. The sarcophagus of Ika Kama. Thomas, help me lift the lid. Get that in, Jerome. The lid of the sarcophagus was removed, revealing the mummy of Ika Kama. Perfectly preserved. What a find! We must get a message back to the museum. Thomas stared at Arnold. But if we report that we found the tomb, we'll have to turn the treasure over to them. Why, of course, Thomas, it belongs to them. But we found it. We sweated and burned out in that hot sun until we discovered it. Isn't that right, Jerome? Thomas, I'm ashamed of you. Of course the treasure belongs to the museum. Jerome took Thomas by the arm and jerked him into a corner. Shut up, you fool! Can't you see Arnold's too righteous to claim the treasure for himself? Then we gotta get rid of him. He stands in our way. Later that night, in the camp of the three archaeologists near the entrance to the tomb. Is he asleep? Yes, now this is what you do. Go down into the tomb, unwrap the mummy of Ika Kama, wrap yourself in its winding. Then shout or scream. I'll awaken Arnold and tell him that you must be down there. When we reach the burial chamber, you're going to the mummy act, and they'll start shouting about the curse. I get it, his heart. He'll drop dead of fright. Exactly. And when we bring his body back to Cairo, we'll claim he had a heart attack from disappointment over the failure of our expedition. And the treasure will be ours. Alright, go ahead and hurry. Wait for my shout. Thomas went down into the tomb. Jerome sat in his cot for a long time, growing more and more uneasy. Finally, ah! Huh? What's that? Arnold sat bolt upright on his cot. Jerome leaped to his feet. Thomas's blood-curdling scream came again. Ah! It's Thomas. His bed's empty. He must be down there, in his tomb. Let's go. Arnold started down the tomb steps. Jerome followed, smiling. He must be in trouble. Hurry, Arnold, hurry. Suddenly they reached the treasure chamber. Thomas's lamp sat upon the floor, illuminating the entire room. Beyond was a burial chamber. Arnold stopped. Oh my lord, look! It's the mummy! He came from the burial chamber, shambling along, tottering weakly, his windings hanging loosely. Jerome had to control himself to keep from laughing. Thomas looked so comical. Then Jerome went into his act. The curse, Arnold, the curse on the entrance door. Death will come to those who enter his tomb. Ika Kama will choke. Rise! The rat figure stumbled forward. The curse is true, Arnold. The mummy has risen. Jerome, it was almost upon them. Oh, come on, let's run. Choke, Jerome, my heart. Arnold clumped to the floor. Jerome knelt to examine him. He's dead. Jerome began to laugh. The rat figure stopped. Good work, Thomas. Good work. Just one thing. Jerome drew the pistol from under his shirt. One thing you didn't count on, Thomas. You see, I want that treasure for myself. Thanks for your help. Jerome fired at the swaying figure before him. The bullet tore through the wrapping, but the figure did not fall. For God's sakes, I shot you, Thomas. Die! Jerome backed off, emptying his gun into the winding encased figure. But the mummy kept coming. Jerome backed into the burial chamber. The sarcophagus was open. Good Lord! The man in the mummy case had a look of sheer horror on his face. Thomas! Then... The mummy was right behind Jerome, almost touching him. So Icon what's his name, took care of his disturbers of his sanctity as the curse had predicted. After that, he tossed the bodies on the pile with the other skeletons, yawned, shut the front slab once more, and then went back to sleep, which is more than you'll be able to do now that you've finished DK's back. Well, my cauldron will be popping next time we meet in the Vault of Horror. Bye now. And rap forever. Crypt from the Tales from the Crypt, number 35, Buried. Happy Halloween, everybody. Tonight, Haunted Discount Emporium. Check it out in Discord. Be there. Be square. Do it.